and the beginning of 2019. I'm going to summarize and give you the figures for 2018. So the three major highlights, apart from Serge Dassault's demise, is the launching a year ago of the 6X, the signature of the 5X with an amicable agreement with Safran, the additional order from Qatar of 12 additional Rafales, and the awarding of the F4 contract. And we've just seen the ceremony with the Minister of Defense. The environmental context, so we're continuing to work in an unstable environment. There's a will to build Europe, but you know the difficulties in this construction, especially for the construction of the European defense. We have an environment with a new law, program law, which has just begun in 2019, but the uncertainties remain, whether it's in terms of geopolitics, but you all know about that better than I do. There are also economic uncertainties, because we're talking about uncertainties in terms of global growth, with all the risks inherent to this non-progressive growth. Rafale France, we delivered in 2018 3 Rafales to France, which were the 3 aircraft that we had taken to deliver Egypt faster. So 152 is the number of Rafales delivered to France. The fourth tranche, the second part of the 28 Rafale to be delivered out of the 180 ordered, will be done in the following years from 2022 onwards. The qualification of the F3R standard, which was delivered to France in 2018, and the F4 will take over for the additional developments. We've also delivered the last 2 Rafale Navy, Rafale Marine retrofitted to the F3 standard. So these were the last 2 delivered in 2018. The awarding of the F4 standard, which was done at the beginning of the year. And this reasserts the fact that we want to keep developing the Rafale, especially in terms of its connectivity, because armies need a lot of connectivity. So as an industrial architect, we have added these new connectivities, these new possibilities that were highly desired, while preserving the integrity of the plane in terms of safety. New capacity in terms of armament configuration, which will give a certain number of additional features to the Rafale. So we have this new defense procurement law, 2019-2025. Dassault Aviation has an additional batch of 30 Rafales that was reasserted by the minister. The order will be awarded in 2023. The launching of the European MAL, the drone program, under the leadership of Airbus, but with the Italians, the Germans, the Spanish, and the French. Dassault and Leonardo will contribute to this dossier. The choice by the Ministry of the Armed Forces of the Falcon platform, this was recalled in the film, an electronic warfare capacity. So a study has been launched, and by 2019 we will receive a contract. By 2019 we'll have to deliver and upgrade the ATL-2. So 18 ATL-2s will be upgraded, whereas initially 15 had been planned. The renewal of the maritime surveillance fleet, which we are following very closely, and we will promote this based on the Falcon 2000, and the confirmation of the airborne component upgrade, and we won't talk much about that today. Rafale Egypt, we delivered 9 extra aircraft, so we have 23 delivered to Egypt. 1 still has to be delivered. We have pursued the support of the Egyptian fleet in Egypt with some retrofitting that were done so that Egyptian aircraft might reach the standards that have been developed since. Qatar, the first aircraft was delivered in 2019, so none were delivered in 2018. You have the 9+3, that is 12 for 2018. We are going to begin this delivery to Qatar. 36 aircraft have to be delivered to Qatar. As for India, there are 36 aircraft orders. So the deliveries will begin in 2019. We are working with the Indian Defense to prepare this delivery, which will be carried out in the middle of the year. So we've pursued our efforts for promotion. You know that we have given an offer for Rafale for the Indian Navy, for the Indian combat aircrafts, and there's an offer for an additional 119 aircraft. So we're going to wait for the end of the elections before we talk about these future topics. So we are progressing with the Make in India. You've seen a few pictures. We've begun the manufacturing of a few parts of the Falcon 2000, based in a hangar that was built a year ago. We are building a new, larger hangar to welcome the future manufacturing of the Falcon 2000. We've also already delivered a few parts. This was also showed in the film, the T3 tank, the entire front section of the Falcon 2000 that has just been delivered by DRAL to Dassault Aviation. So all this was done in a record time locally with Indian teams that we've recruited and a local Indian manager who is, of course, assisted with the Dassault Aviation teams.
Mirage 2000, we're continuing to do the upgrades on the 2000D. And as was said in the film already, we wanted to salute the retirement of Mirage 2000N, which was the spearhead of deterrence, airborne deterrence, and which was replaced by the Rafale. We're continuing our talks with the United Arab Emirates in terms of additional upgrades to their Mirage 2000-9 fleet. And the Neuron, we are pursuing a new flight test campaign dedicated to stealthiness demonstration. This is with the French Defense Procurement Agency, the French Air Force, and the French Navy. We want to pursue our drone roadmap. And, you know, we have discontinued the work we were doing with our British friends. Regarding the Future Combat Air System, a lot of media coverage was given to that. Heads of state have talked about it and so on. There's been a reasserted political intent by the Minister of Defense and the assertion that Dassault wants, of course, to cooperate to meet the needs of the two defense ministries, with the first contract that was entered into at the start of 2019 for the FCAS initial studies. And we're now working on the first contract for demonstrators that should be announced at the Paris Air Show this year. Space programs, we're still interested in taking part in a certain number of studies in the arena of space. There is renewed interest by the Ministry of Defense in these matters. We don't want to compete with those who are making satellites or launchers or anything like that. We just want to be interested in what could be flying objects in space. And in particular, we're working with the ESA on the Space Rider program. We're also pursuing our upgrading in pyrotechnics because, you know, the Rafale uses pyrotechnics for the ejection of seats and so on. So it's important for us to work on pyrotechnics and digital pyrotechnics, pyrodigital, that is. So regarding maritime surveillance, Japan has pursued its acquisition of Falcon 2000 for maritime surveillance, and in 2019 we will be delivering the first airplanes. There were 5 that were ordered for our Japanese friends, the Coast Guards. In France, apart from the AFCIMAR program that will require us to propose maritime surveillance, Falcon 2000, but we have pursued work on Falcon 50s, the current ones, with in particular an airplane that has an additional dropping capacity of search and rescue chains. That was done last year. 6X then, Falcon 6X, this program is developing quite in line with the schedule, which should lead up to deliveries of Falcon 6Xs by 2022. As you know, we are monitoring the Pratt & Whitney engine adaptations. We have a team working there, and everything is on time there. There are 4 engines already being tested. We have 120 hours that have been run on the flying test bench with our friends in Pratt & Whitney. So basically this program is quite on time, and all the contracts with the subcontractors have been totally entered into in 2018 already. Then Falcons in service, we're pursuing the improvement of the in-service Falcons with certain development work being done. Falcon Eye, you heard about that before. This is pursuing we're pursuing the improvement of its functionalities. We want to get certification for use of it up to 100 feet, and that would be an improvement for pilots in poor weather conditions or nighttime conditions. Also, the Falcon Connect launch. This is an integrated management solution to facilitate the in-flight use of connected devices, tablets, telephones, emails, and so on board. So we have a full service offering for our clients using an architecture that we've developed that we call Falcon Connect. In particular, the KA band that gives us high-speed connectivity for aircraft in service. Then Falcon 8X will be pursuing here a certain number of efforts. We have done Singapore-London in 2018 already. It wasn't easy, 14 hours. Long range has been demonstrated, and it took 14 hours, and the conditions weren't great, but it was quite a performance. Then we also find that our new clients like it, the ones that are using it already. The cabin comfort is very much appreciated by new clients in particular. Then the Falcon family, the Falcon Ranger, have it here in the pictures being expanded. The 6X is part of our catalogue, of course. Sales have already started for that particular aircraft.
As for the future Falcons, once again, I'd like to tell you that we are pursuing our studies, not only our marketing studies, but also our technical studies. So the technical platform is ongoing, but I'm not going to give you any features here at this press conference. Customer service, we're very proud for having obtained a certain number of awards for our customer service, and especially a first ranking for our overall score for our customer support, and some victories in a certain number of domains in terms of the quality of our response for AOGs, warranties, etc. And Falcon support is at a very high level. That's one of the priorities we had set in order to satisfy our clients. The service response, which is a service we had launched a few years ago, is doing very well. It is highly appreciated by our clients. When there's a problem, they can operate, they can immediately go and repair the aircraft, or they can help the clients pursue their mission, people who are stuck at the other end of the world. And here you see it has operated several times with some 1,400 flight hours. Service center strategy, as you have seen, we announced it twice. Once a few weeks ago, the acquisition of the Execute Jet, and yesterday we announced the acquisition of the Desmarais of TAG Aviation. The objective is to strengthen our service stations so as to improve our offer, our support. So here you have a map, the blue dots, this is what already existed, and you have the new yellow dots with Execute Jet. You see that we're going to be operating from support centers that belong to us towards the east, especially in Asia and in Africa. And the acquisition of TAG will allow us to strengthen our position in Europe, which is a highly operational place for business aircraft, and especially in Geneva. Our transformation plan, I'm not going to go back on it. We want to recruit, hire more people. We're looking at the casting of the company for the future. One of the specificities, which is well known at Dassault for years now, is the digital. Therefore, we're strengthening our partnership with our friends from Dassault System, especially with the implementation of the 3D experience that will allow us not only to prepare the programs of the future, but also to uniformize all our programs based on this new, more powerful and more collaborative platform. So therefore, we'll be able to set up an extensive study design office, and we'll be able to take into account all our projects. We'll have high-performance aircraft, easy to manufacture, easy to support, and it will cost less for future support. So therefore, we'll improve the competitiveness of our offer. The second topic with Dassault Systèmes in this strategic partnership, these are the data. This is what we call big data. We have a lot more data, and therefore we have to extract from the data all the relevant data that will allow us, first, to propose new services to our clients, whether it's in the civilian or military areas. We are discussing about the future Rafale Care with the help of the state. We're also discussing with our clients on how we can improve our services in the framework of Falcon Care. So this big data is fundamental so that we can provide these new services. It's also useful in-house in Dassault with our subcontractors so that we can better understand a certain number of difficulties that we can perceive during development or when we put our fleets in service. So therefore, we need to improve the company on an ongoing basis. And it is a must because we have to protect ourselves. Data, as you know, is something very important. We need to protect our data. And so therefore, we are developing architectures so as to prepare for the future. So Dassault Systèmes and Dassault Aviation are working hand in hand in this strategy. And there aren't many companies in the world, believe me, who can deal with such problems. And in France, even less so. Decision to have recourse to an improvement in production. So therefore, we're going to improve with SAP and with SAP Réseau. With SAP Réseau from Dassault Systèmes, we're going to improve the life of our teams and connect them directly to the company in digital terms. The transformation plan covers all our plans, of course, so I'm not going to go around France nor around the world. We're improving, we're specializing our production sites. And this triggers off a certain number of changes in our teams. They will have to move from one site to another. It isn't done massively, but it will happen. For example, the primary parts, we would do it at Seclin and Argenteuil. Now, everything is in Seclin, in the north of France. You know, Seclin is close to Lille. So the metallic parts will be mainly at Seclin. Pyrotechnics, we were at Argenteuil, and in the Paris region, pyrotechnics is not the adapted site for that. So instead of upgrading in an environment that is constrained by the environmental standards, we have decided to go to Martignas. We had a site that had been created for pyrotechnics at first, and now it has become a site for our military and civil wingspans. So this is an adaptation that should allow us to be more efficient and to keep our strategic lines and to be able to subcontract when the lines are less strategic. Now, just a few words before you ask me questions on Argenteuil. We had the choice to either preserve Argenteuil or not, but you see some of the activities have been deployed onto other sites to specialize, so we needed fewer square meters. So either we modernize Argenteuil or we find another site. So actually, after a year of study, we found a land that we really liked at Cergy, and the modernization that we could plan at Argenteuil was not effective. So we decided to change sites. So we've taken a purely industrial decision, and now we're going to Cergy for a small plant, which will be smaller than the one in Argenteuil, and it will preserve its capacity for the T-12 to redesign the Rafale, and this is what is done currently at Argenteuil. Cergy, Argenteuil, they're not very far away from each other. It will not really disturb the employees who were initially working at Argenteuil. As for corporate social responsibility, we have done better in the environmental sector because we are trying to reduce our environmental footprint, and Of course, we want to reduce the consumption of gas, which was carried out. We measure it each and every year. We recover a lot of our waste. So in all our plants, we are particularly careful to take care of the environment. Societal, you've seen it in the film, but it is true in a historical way at Dassault. We're very careful about our SMEs and ETIs because that is our life force. They manufacture our aircraft. We pay our taxes in France. In the current context, it's good to say so. So we pay all our taxes, 93%, that is 178 million of tax expenses are paid in France. Here we have not integrated the corporate taxes. We cooperate with the academic community. Education is very important for us. We have a great number of apprentices. We are taking part in apprenticeship centers, for example, in the Aero Campus and La Trait. We have improved our ethical charter, and we have ethical conduct to meet the Sapin II and the vigilance plans. From the social point of view, so our profit sharing and incentive schemes are very important. When we include the social tax, it's some 168 million euros. That is almost the same level as our tax. From the social point of view, an annual salary is 57,000. And if you take the lowest salary, it is 33,000 euros. So it's the lowest salary at Dassault Aviation. It is twice the minimum wage. So in terms of purchasing power, Dassault is a very good company. We're continuing hiring new people since we are improving our business. We are hiring new people. We've hired 856 people in 2018. And we have a strong policy to recruit more women. It starts in schools. It's from the schools that we will have more women. But it's not easy because there aren't many women who are tempted to work into technical areas. So there will be a greater awareness in schools, and they will reach all levels of the company in this way. And we have signed agreements to recruit more disabled workers. Now I'm going to go on straight to our results.
First of all, the order intake. We sold 52 Falcons in 2018 compared with 41 in 2017. And if we take out the 5Xs that were cancelled, 10 that were cancelled in 2018, it gives us a figure of 42. Now, the 10 5Xs in here are the last 5Xs. There are no other ones in the backlog. Deliveries of Falcons, we delivered 41 Falcons. You'll recall that the guidance we gave was 40. So in 2017, there were a few more. We brought down the pace a bit given the market the way it was. 2 or 3 years ago, it was down. Then the backlog is now at 53. So book-to-bill quite a little bit positive compared to the Falcon, compared to 52 at the end of 2017. Rafale, the order intake for the 12 Qatari Rafales, additional ones. You see here we delivered 12 airplanes, 9 for Egypt and 3 for France, and the backlog remains with 101 Rafales to be delivered. Now, figures. The order intake is at 5 billion. That's a strong increase compared with 2017. Sales going up 5.1 billion compared with 4.9 the previous year, with a bit less in terms of Falcons, but as you've seen, but the same number of Rafales. And with the F3R for France that was delivered, that went up substantially and brings up the French sales figure. The backlog leveling off at 19.4 billion compared with 19.5 the previous year, with obviously a lot that is export Rafales to be delivered in the coming number of years. Then R&D, self-funded R&D, strong increase in 2018. That was planned. It was foreseeable, 6X mainly, going up here because we picked up the work on that in a strong way in 2018. So that will further increase next year this year, 2019. So 6X will continue ramping up, but also we will have the new Falcon that we'll have to really start off with. So the self-funding effort will go up. Now, you've seen the chart here that if you look at it over several years, we have about 10% of sales, net sales, on average, 10% of net sales. 7.7% of net sales, 392 million euro. So Thales, they've published their figures yesterday. Good performance there, a net increase in their profitability. So the adjusted net margin, 7.4% for 2018. And, we have to add the net of Dassault Aviation to this, to the tune of our stake in Thales. So the net sales of 2018 going up 5 billion and 84 million euro. The operating income 669 million compared to 357 the previous year. So there again is markedly up. That reflects that is 13.2% in operating margin compared with the figure for the previous year you have here. Then you have financial income minus 77 million. Thales and other equity affiliates. You see the figure here. Taxes. 205 million with the minus. That's net income, 681 million, net margin of 13.4% compared with 410 the previous year. I would just note that in these figures we've integrated the Safran compensation for the termination of the Silvercrest engine contract. We communicated on this in September. It's about it was actually 280 million in dollars. That's 241 million in euro. And there's an impact in terms of profit sharing and incentives on our earnings. I put into the note here that if we had done these computations without the Safran compensation, which it's a one-off really, well, we would have had then an operating income of 9.2% instead of 13.2%, and a net income of 18.8% instead of 13.4%. 10.8, sorry, instead of 13.4. The cash position has got better, as you see, at 5.2 billion, thanks to the progress payments of the export Rafales, the down payments from Qatar, for example, and other intermediate progress payments that were paid by Qatar and India. So basically, this figure will go down then because you've got to make the airplanes. We've got Egypt, we've fully delivered, and give or take one airplane now. So this cash position, of course, is made up of, of the fact that we've got to make airplanes. So the dividends. The proposal is the same payout, 26%. So 21.2 euro per share would be the dividend that will be put to the shareholders' meeting that will take place on the 16th of May 2019. So that would give us a figure of 177 million for 2018 as opposed to 127 million for 2017. Now, the profit sharing and incentive schemes for the employees, 168 million euro if you include the correlated social flat rate tax. And I mentioned the taxes earlier, 278. So we won't talk about 3/3 anymore. It's 4/4 we've got to talk about these days in this kind of thing. What we give to the shareholder, it's 177, as you saw. The earnings, of our employees, their pay, 168 million, and taxes to the state. We pay our tax in France, 178 million, and the rest of the earnings we keep to fuel the development of the company. So the outlook and strategy for 2019, we have a fairly full program ahead of us for 2019, the pursuit of the sale and the bolstering of our sales for Falcon, and I hope also for Rafale. We are pursuing the initial FCS studies. This is major for the future, of course. We've got to pursue our cooperation here, especially with Germany and our Airbus partner and all of the companies that contribute to combat aircraft and combat systems on either side of the Rhine. Then continuing the Falcon 6X development work so as to hopefully stick to the schedule, and then confirm the future Falcon launch. Future Falcon that will be really operational in 2019. Then the start of the F4 work that's been notified to us. A very ambitious standard here, F4, especially in terms of the connectivity architectures. We've got to perform the Falcon and Rafale contracts, deliver the Falcons on time as planned, and so on. Participate in the response to the invitation to tender for a contract launching the MALE or PAS program that should take place this year. Continue work on preparing the Falcon maritime surveillance and CUGE order with France. Deliver the ATL upgrade and finalize the new Rafale France maintenance in operational conditions contract, and also do even better in Falcons thanks to the development of our new strategy of service centres. Try also to make the most of our know-how in the space domain and continue to implement the transformation plan that will help us to prepare for the future and keep us competitive. The objective of the guidance for 2019, you see, is to deliver 45 Falcons. Our guidance a year ago was 40, so it's a slight progression, which is a slight increase in the market. It reflected there, but, we remain prudent. 26 Rafales for export contracts, and that would give us a significant rise in the net sales for 2019.